in a few short days on May 16th, depending on where you're at. I'm not entirely sure if that's May 16 in Korea or if it's May 16 for North America, but in a few short days, Johnny Somali is once again going to be in front of a judge. And is he going to figure out his fate? Have they finally concluded the investigation? Have they levied all of the charges against him? Well, we're going to find out in very short order, and honestly, it's really not looking good. It's not looking good for the most prominent nuisance streamer, and yeah, if this South Korea and the prosecutors have their way about it, he's going to be made a great example of, and fantastic. Couldn't happen to a better guy. Johnny Somali trial delayed, yes, as Korea files charges with even more jail time. Let's cast our minds back a month. Okay, prior to a couple of the things that we have talked about recently, and let's just lay the groundwork for what we can expect towards the end of the week. Controversial streamer Johnny Somali had his trial delayed to May following new charges that could result in even more jail time. Johnny Somali's real name, Ramsey Khalid Ismael, has already pled guilty in a South Korean court for obstruction of business, but he has severe new charges coming his way. For months, Somali terrorized South Korea with a series of stream antics that included dancing on the Statue of Peace, harassing locals, and causing a scene in local businesses. While some Koreans fought back, including one Special Forces YouTuber who, got fined, $7,000, and then shout out Donut Operator for just dropping the remainder of the required funds to get him off the hook because, at this point in time, everybody knows who's in the right, who's in the wrong, and what type of justice needs to be carried out here. The legal system is, hitting Somali even harder. Ahead of his April 9th court date, Somali's legal team successfully managed to get his trial pushed back to May, 2 days prior. As per a lawyer legal mindset, Ramsey's public defender motioned to a delay of the trial date, adding that this was likely due to the new deepfake charges. What are we talking about here? And this charge is related to AI deepfakes he allegedly made, which include one of Korean streamer Bong Bong, who he used to make it look like he and the influencer were kissing in November of 2024. This charge carries a mandatory prison sentence of up to 7 years, and that's not the only crime Somali is accused of. Early in 2024, Ismael had streamed from Korean theme park Lotte World, not entirely sure how to pronounce that, where he allegedly broadcasted text-to-speech claiming he wanted to engage in inappropriate acts with children. We talked about that before, and it's one of the numerous charges that he's going to be up on, and, I guess for Somali, he gets a little bit of a break as, those crimes, they didn't find any validity to those. According to Legal Mindset, he has violate South Korea's Child Welfare Act, pointing out that would fall under Article 17, committing harassment against a child that may make him or her feel ashamed. The punishment, if found guilty, would be 10 years in jail with labor or a fine of up to 50 million won, around 34,000 USD. On April 30th, Somali revealed all child welfare charges against me have been dropped by South Korean prosecutors. According to a screenshot shared by the streamer, there was insufficient evidence to move forward with the case. However, there could be more legal consequences for the streamer, who is also accused of violating anti-terrorism laws, threatening to assault female streamers, drug use, violating the Railroad Act, and even spreading North Korea propaganda, a lot of which has been captured on his very own stream. So laying these charges against him would be very simple, and because trying to prove whether or not anybody could tangibly understand English text-to-speech and be aggrieved by those messages, that would be not quite as cut and dry as just simply playing the video of this idiot displaying his deep fakes. Because, bro, man, it's simply a matter of time. And him having the audacity of saying that, when I eventually leave South Korea, and, stupid Hank has been so good to me. Well, actually, his mom has, for footing all of my legal bills, even though she hates my very guts, I'm eventually just going to skate on this. I got out of Japan with just, a slap on the wrist and a real truly heartfelt apology. The same thing's going to happen to me here. But The deepfakes Johnny Somali used on Bong Bong. Yes, the first show. I'm sorry. He first shows the pictures of BB and identifies her as his girlfriend, and then he shows the deepfake AI videos of them kissing each other. It's just one of the many deepfakes Somali is responsible for. Yeah, and that goes all the way back to October of 2024. But everything in South Korea kicked off, with the Statues of Peace incidents back in September. He has been landlocked since then, but all's well that ends well this Friday, because now Somali is facing up to 31 years in jail. Yay, after being charged with another crime. Bro, it's so over. Streamer Somali has been charged with yet another crime in South Korea and is looking at a maximum sentence of 31 years behind bars. Yay! In numerous broadcasts, the streamer disrespected Koreans, disrupted businesses, confronted by other content creators, getting KTFO'd by a former Korean Navy SEAL. The Somali ended up being charged for some of his stream content in an ongoing trial that saw him show up late and hungover to his first court appearance. Since then, more serious charges have been filed against him. On May 8th, 2025, it was reported that Somali was charged with a second crime, which would add another 10 plus years on top of his other charges. You'll love to see it. According to Legal Mindset, shout out Andrew, Johnny Somali was hit with a second count of distributing false videos in the form of deepfakes, something that is considered a crime in Korea. Previously, Ismael is facing a single count, allegedly for sharing deepfakes of Korean streamer Bong Bong kissing him. But now, the second charge, as per Legal Mindset, is probably from other Korean streamers who had run-ins with Somali, such as the Korean Navy SEAL, yes, Dalgun Yu, if I have that correct, okay, who was fined over punching the American. Yeah, but it's like, we kind of got to do this because the law is on the books, and we'll make it as light as possible because we don't really want to incentivize this type of behavior, but then at the same time, we don't want to punish you for taking out the trash. So, deepfakes carry a maximum penalty of 10.5 years in jail. So if he's found guilty on both counts, he could be facing 21 years. This doesn't include the other charges filed against him. So far, he's pled guilty to one count of obstruction of a business. Yes, that's the 7-Eleven that he decided to stream from and play obscene music and then refused to leave in a timely manner. But he has an additional charge against him too. Obstruction of business carries a maximum penalty of 5 years. But of course, that could also be deferred, and that could also just simply be a fine or time served or anything like that. So yeah, potentially that could be lower. But if it's going to be stacked up with other charges that's why he's potentially looking at decades behind bars. I don't really know who's going to be upset if that is the ultimate outcome. So in total, if he's found guilty of each charge and gets the maximum sentencing, it'll add up to 31 years. And that's what the prosecution has been pushing for, a very harsh punishment to go ahead and really set the tone and tenor moving forward. This isn't including the other possible charges that have yet to be filed, as Ismael is accused of threatening to spread HIV, broadcasting North Korean propaganda, and violating anti-terrorism laws, all of which we have talked about before. And yeah, this could also be another count. I'm not exactly sure which statute this would fall under, but hey man, if distributing a deepfakes of an individual is something that can be criminally charged, you would think harassing and distributing personal information, that's at least got to be a contributing factor. In regards to finding him guilty of one of these charges, Somali is intimidating and threatening Bong Bong's life again. He doxed her home and address before because she stepped up with a lawyer. Somali, if Bong Bong gets hurt or worse, we know it's you. Yes, leave her alone, of course. And yeah, something else that Legal Mindset has pointed out as well, the fact that Somali is a witness. He's witness tampering, right? Intimidating somebody who's very central to those deepfake charges. And so the possibility of him spending decades in a South Korean holding cell looks to be very much on the cards, and something that we're going to have a much more clear picture of this Friday. And honestly, yeah, I've been waiting for this for a while, mostly because I find IRL streamers to be completely and totally cringe and insufferable. And well, you have the Philippines, doing what they're doing to Vitali over there, and as cringe as Vitali can be, he's done some good stuff in regards to tracking down pedos stateside. But hey man, if you're going to go over there and be a nuisance in South Southeast Asia. Okay, they have a certain way of dealing with riffraff and parading you on mainstream television. That's one way to do it. Or you can be like South Korea and just be very meticulous, be very thoughtful, have you drained of all of your financial resources for as long as possible. That is one way to get to the bottom of this, and it looks to be successful, and I hope that is the same outcome in the courtroom. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo, and I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.